So I'm going to be talking about Injustice 3 character roster wish list. So I chose 28 characters and maybe a few more or whatever. So let's start. So I want to see the Justice League, of course. I mean, they are like the staple characters. Like they have to be in in the game because they're important for story purposes and they just have to be there, and they're the staples. And then I want the big bad guy to be Trigon. He's a demon-esque creature, which I like. I want to see more monster-type characters. I don't like that everybody looks human. And then, since Trigon is around, I want to see the Teen Titans, especially Beast Boy. Everybody wants to see Beast Boy. He can turn into every single animal. So, yeah, and but I do not want to see like Raven and Starfire because they were already playable in past games, and if you want to play as them, then just play the other game. If you want to play as Raven, and if you want to play as Starfire, just play Injustice 1 and Injustice 2. That's it. There should be more space for other characters. And then I would like to see Nightwing, but apparently he's dead. And but I think they brought him in the Injustice comic books. They brought him back to life as Deadman. So Nightwing is the new Deadman. So they can just bring Deadman, but make him Nightwing or whatever. They can do that. Or they can just make the comic books non-canon just to make things a lot easier. I bet, a lot of people play the games and don't read the comic books. So just make the comic books non-canon, and that's it. And forget about the rules of who's dead and who's not. Just forget about that. So yeah, the Titans. And then I also want, since Trigon is like a magical creature and like supernatural creature, I would like to see the Justice League Dark, and that means Constantine, Etrigan, Satana, and maybe Dr. Fate, whatever. I feel like the Justice League Dark could really play like a really important role within this story because it's gonna be all about magic. You know, Trigon is Lucifer and it's magic, and magic justifies everything. Come okay? You can justify whatever. Like you can literally, if somebody dies, you can just justify with magic and revive them or something like that. So I think magic's gonna should be like a really important role within the story. And speaking of magic users, I would like to see Cersei. She is a sorceress. She's a Wonder Woman villain, and there's fan art of her. Yeah, not fan art, but like actual Injustice to art of her out there. So they were planning to put her in the game, just like Constantine and Etrigan. There was art out there, and they were gonna put them in Injustice 2, but they didn't make the cut. So now is the time for them to make the cut. You know. And then I also want to see more lanterns, orange lanterns, like Larfleeze. He's a monster type character, which like I said, I want more monster as characters. Not everybody can be human, right? And then Star Sapphire, you have another female character. She's a lantern as well. She can create constructs. She can create force fields. She can encase people in diamonds. And she's a girl. And she's another lantern. And you can have, three or two lanterns because Injustice 2 had like Cheetah, yeah. Injustice 2 had like Cheetah, Catwoman, which are very similar. And then they have Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing, which are also very similar. And then they have like Harley Quinn, and Deadshot, and Red Hood, which are all mercenaries and guns people. And if they were all in the same game and they're basically the same character, Why can't you have 3 lanterns or 2 lanterns in the same game? Okay? And then movie characters, I would like to see Engineer. She was in the recent Superman movie, and I thought she was pretty cool. And once again, another female character. You need females, right? She's pretty cool. Just watch the Superman movie. She's awesome. And I would like to see Metamorpho. He's also in the movie. He has the power to turn into whatever element in the periodic table, which is very versatile and diverse. I mean, imagine all the things that he could do, right? Like, that would be so amazing to like see, right? And he also looks pretty cool, you know? His body's like composed out of different elements, which is very interesting. And then Clayface, they're making a movie about him as well. Also, another monster type character. He can shapeshift into other people. He can conjure weapons out of his clay body. He can probably multiply himself into different people out of clay. Very cool character, a monster type character, which we need. Once again, not everybody can be human, right? And then these are kind of like random, but I like these Batman Beyond characters like Blight. He's like the green guy, the skull green guy. He looks pretty cool. I don't know, I think he just looked too cool, honestly. And then Ink, I would like to see her. She's a really awesome, she's a female. And she's a really awesome Batman Beyond character. She's an assassin, and she's also like a blob type character. So imagine all the versatility that you could do with her, all the weapons that you could do with her. You know, she can turn in like her skin into like weapons and things like that, which is pretty cool. Whatever, I would like to see them. And then I would like to see Plastic Man. Like once again, he can maybe turn his skin into weapons and things like that. Very cool character. He's not dead. I think some people think he's dead, but he's not dead. Then you have King Shark, which is another monster type character. Um, he's dead, but they can justify with magic. Like they can bring him back with magic. You know, I feel like the story of Injustice 3 should really heavily revolve around magic to justify all of these like plot holes and mistakes, whatever. And after all, this is a superhero fictional universe, and everything is bullshit. So, you know, magic is should be like the main focus, right? Or just make the comic books non-canon. Like, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people play the games and they don't read the comic books. So, just make the comic books non-canon and forget about him being dead. And then I also want to see Martian Manhunter. He is also presumably dead, but he's not. He fell into the ocean and he joined the people of Atlantis. And people thought he was dead, but he's in Atlantis. He's not dead. And then Booster Gold, he's also dead, but once again, just make the comic books not non-canon. And then I would like to see maybe Giganta. I think her power set is really awesome. She can turn into like a really big, giant creature, which is really cool. And then, not everybody can have superpowers, of course, So Huntress will be another female. I'm just trying to add a little bit more females, right? You gotta have more females, and not everybody can have superpowers as well. So Huntress is a street level martial artist, and I think she'll be pretty cool. She's the purple girl, um, with the crossbow, and then as a guest character, maybe Duplicate from Invincible. She can like multiply herself into multiple people, which is really a pretty cool power. And we have seen that before with Ermac and Noob. Um, they can multiply themselves into multiple people, and if they can do that with Ermac and Noob, they can do that with Duplicate. And she can be the first ever female character, guest character. So that would be pretty cool. And then characters that I don't want to see Harley Quinn, Joker, Catwoman. Because those people, they have already made enough appearances in other games like Suicide Squad and movies, and I just don't want to see them again. Um, and yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, and I don't want to see more Batman characters. Once again, I'm going to repeat it again. I don't want to see Harley Quinn. I don't want to see Joker. I don't want to see Bane, Catwoman. I don't want to see Poison Ivy. Those people are not staple characters, okay? Batman characters are not I don't want to see Black Canary, Green Arrow again. If you want to play those characters, just play the previous games. They're still pretty good games that you can buy them on PlayStation 4 and play on your PlayStation 5. I don't want to see those fucking characters again, okay? No more Batman characters. There should be time for other characters to shine. We need more different characters from different, superheroes. Wonder Woman villains, Superman villains, Green Lantern villains, Aquaman villains. Not everything is Batman, okay? So yeah, I don't want to see Batman characters, right? And repeated characters. I don't want to see them again. I want other people to shine, okay? And that's it.